One man who was said to be handcuffed was said to be pushed down some stairs.
Please refrain from going into the area, the limits which I have just described.
Machine gun and shotguns and rifles. An army tank moved in, and then moved in the armored cars, the mobile cars. This is Detroit, an uneasy city. It isn't as if the racial trouble came exactly unexpected. The Motor City has been preparing for it for years. But you can make just so many...
I think that, you know, it's hard, you know, it's 2019 right now, and you can like look back on history, and it's easy to confuse the larger national political narrative with, and try and infer that that is what has happened in Grand Rapids.
I watched buildings burn. I watched people throw Molotov cocktails.
And we think that's something that happened down there, but we really had these issues here in Grand Rapids.
On July 23, 1967, one of the most violent and destructive riots broke out in the streets of Detroit, leaving 43 people dead and hundreds more injured. Just 2 days after the Detroit riots began, rioting appeared in the streets of Grand Rapids, leaving neighborhoods devastated and even more people injured.
It flared up just like it did in Detroit, without the total consequences of Detroit.
You know, in some ways there's positive and negative things that came out of it. I think the perception of the community, I think that, you know, for some of these young men, the dignity had been driven down so much that it was intolerable.
An official report entitled The Anatomy of a Riot did not believe that the Detroit riots were connected to the Grand Rapids riots.
And the Grand Rapids riots were like nothing compared to Detroit. I mean, Detroit is still light from riots in there. Now here, a lot of where the places that were destroyed, you know, there's things there now. There's the Health and Human Services office is where, pretty much where the main part of the riots happened, and the main blocks that got.
Weeks before the uprising, police had begun to aggressively crack down on drugs and prostitution in the area, escalating tensions between the African American community and the police.
I mean, you're already talking about a pretty fearful community that was made more fearful of the African American community. There's an association with African Americans and criminality, especially in policing culture here. And I feel that maybe that helped reinforce that absolutely false stereotype, this idea that you have something to fear.
Speaking on behalf of Mayor Sonneveld and myself, city manager and neighbors, we are proposing to establish a prohibited area in the near southeast end, a district bounded on the east by Madison, on the south by Cottage Grove, on the west by the Expressway, and of course on the north by Wealthy. We ask all people, and we particularly place emphasis on all people, to please refrain from going into the area, the limits which I have just described.